Hello and welcome. I am Tracy Powers. I am a life and relationship coach, and today I wanted to come in and illuminate something that may be helpful, especially for women, something that maybe is sneakily operating in the background of your life that could change how you look at things and move forward, and that is the wound. So, for the purposes of our conversation today, I want to define wound as an old hurt or injury that it unconsciously determines our behavior and choices today. Now, there are many types of wounds that I see affect women today, such as the wound of the patriarchy, the mother or father wound, which could be not getting the love we wanted or needed in the way we as we were children, no matter what kind of job our parents did. The wounds of the feminine and the masculine, that can be how we have felt injured by them, how we relate to our own masculine and our own feminine, and possibly fears of the masculine and the feminine. And those fears of the feminine can really tie into what we're talking about today, which is that the mean girl wound. So I just have to say, I've really illuminated this more for myself, and one thing that I have seen specifically is having young children and having them come home from school every day and hearing stories from the playground or the battleground, as it may be. The thing is, children's brains are not fully developed yet. They are learning how to socialize, and that they are learning how to deal with their emotions. And that involves dealing with aggression, physical, verbal. It could mean feeling excluded. It could mean just different ways of being treated that actually can be quite harsh for little ones to understand and to deal with. They're like these little micro traumas. And what can happen is that can really even affect our personality, how we adapt each day to try to possibly avoid that from happening, or to feel like we've actually defended ourselves preemptively from that. So that can really affect us as we develop as children. But even as we get a little bit older, we start to run into what has been famously personified in the movie Mean Girls by Tina Fey, which is from the book Mean Girls, or Queen Bees and Wannabes. And that there we operate, and almost every human or every animal in nature operates within a pecking order. So we will find that from our backgrounds that we needed to create a hierarchy or a pecking order, that the ones at the top, the alpha, had more resources, had more leadership, and the ones at the bottom could be easily picked off the herd. And that is still in our nervous systems, that is still in our DNA, and that is the way in which we still operate in the world, even though we've evolved past those survival needs. So this can bring up our survival energy. We can feel threatened if we feel like our place within the herd is too high or too low. You may have like a natural place that you feel most comfortable or most safe. And there can be different behaviors that can be spurred. And we see this especially in, say, middle school and high school. Behaviors such as gossiping and excluding, putting others down to help boost yourself up. And these can really happen unconsciously. And they don't even end with high school, no matter how much we think we may have evolved out of it. One of my teachers, Allison Armstrong, really illuminated this for me, how much we still have status and our desire to feel comfortable and safe with our status. and people will constantly discuss things or bring things up um, to show their status. Perhaps it's wealth, perhaps it's a relationship or a marriage, or who they're married to, or what success they've had, or material goods, or who they know, or how many places they've traveled to. And sneakily, people can begin to put those things in so that they feel safe, so that it contains that tension, that survival energy. So it doesn't just end with middle school or high school. It can continue on and can cause women to feel that tension and want to find a way to quell that, and may act in really unconscious behaviors that they really feel a little icky or yucky with later, such as gossiping or, again, putting others down. And so once you can kind of see, oh, this, I had these experiences when I was young, and how people responded to me were very hurtful, were micro traumas or even larger traumas, and are actually influencing the way I make decisions today, the way I move through relationship today, and can lead to unconsciously competing, for example. And I see this when I look at women moving through the world, knowing possibly where their place in this hierarchy was in their level of confidence. They may, if they felt that they had a good group, a good place, a good status, um, where maybe even people were lifting each other up, without these microaggressions or larger aggressions, they move through the world quite a bit more confidently. They feel happy trying new things, promoting themselves, where women who felt they actually had to yield may continue to yield. They might not actually express their voice as much. They fear kind of what people will say, what people will think, as we all do. But I believe that those earlier experiences and even later experiences, depending in the communities that they have since joined and fallen into, how this desire for status and kind of putting people in different places has created an injury and has led to less confidence in the way that they go about being in the world. So, what can you do about it? Maybe you want to stop the, oh my gosh, I gossiped and I actually feel really disgusting afterwards, or I don't feel as confident moving through the world as I want to, or I've yielded and I'm not wielding my voice like I would want to. And just awareness is huge. Once you can see this, hopefully you can't unsee it. How we fall into this status, how we want to boost ourselves up or put ourselves down to feel more comfortable. And just knowing that is a survival instinct. It has nothing to do with our higher self, has nothing to do with how we want to thrive in the world. It is a real and actual tension that is being created in us. And once we are aware of it, we can make better choices rather than just going down those roads that we might not want to go down anymore. So awareness is huge. And then doing a little digging. How do I want to relate to women? Knowing that this may be there. What are my standards and what are my boundaries? How might I respond if I experience gossiping? How might I want to relate to gossiping? How may I want to stick to my word? How may I want to build women up instead of put them down? And when I feel like that tension actually overrided me and I didn't get to be who I wanted to be and act in the way I wanted to act, I can go back and clean it up. I can go back and say, I shouldn't have said that. I want to be the type of woman who builds other women up, and you can just keep repairing and recommitting to who you want to be and how you want to move through the world. So that requires also a lot of self-forgiveness and, again, cleaning up as you go, not just with others, but with yourself. And another thing that's really helpful is to consider disarming women right off the bat. When you get into a circle of women, when you get to a social event, when you meet someone for the first time, really finding a way to honor them and see them, not just glance over, but look into their eyes. Maybe compliment them. Maybe pick out something that you can already see. You don't have to make it up. There is a light within each and every woman. And that will disarm her. Once she feels she has been seen, she has been honored, she will not have that pull, that tension quite as much to put herself in position in regards to you. You've created something deeper than that survival energy, and there's a place in which you can start to relate on a different level, and you have set kind of that standard from the get-go. It's also important to be aware of how these past experiences may have affected you and what you can do to heal these past wounds so that they are not unconsciously pulling on your behavior today, so that you can stick to your values, so that you can stick to your goals and your dreams, and this dynamic does not derail you from that. So healing, releasing, I work on some really great techniques with my clients. There's amazing techniques out there, and really just setting the intention to heal is such a huge piece of it that will take you so far. And then also one last thing I want to throw in is just how we influence future generations, how we want to set the standard and be the young women today are seeing our modeling, seeing our behavior. So it's not just talking about how to treat each other, but it is also about setting that example through the way that they see you with other women, so that we can begin to shift things, especially coming out of the patriarchy, where even that has influenced us, in which we felt like we had to be more competitive. That we create a new vision and we support the younger generations within that. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that this is beginning to get the gears turning, how this survival instinct, how we have survived as a species, and yet how we can be a whole lot more conscious, how we can heal from this wound, how we can decide how we want to be moving forward, and we aren't just drawn and pulled by this and then thinking and blaming ourselves somehow. But that's all for today. I hope you enjoy. If this has made a difference for you, please share. And if you want any more digging in a little deeper, I'm happy to support you if you want to hop on a call. Thank you.